All right, we're going to take a look at this one through the combative lens and just see what we see. Let's check it out. Real quick, what we got here is I don't know if it's legal over in Russia or wherever this is, but we'll call it an underground fight. The biggest thing being the arena these guys train in is always hard ground. It's always like concrete. So while I totally don't agree with trying to establish a sport or entertainment in this fashion, this is a valuable data set for the collection of information in regards to combatives. Consequences and injuries in a setting like this are, you're talking catastrophic here. But that, the stakes are also as high as possible. So you're going to see reactions that are dead accurate with what you're going to see in the real world. And also, it's going to help me kind of point out, obviously, this is the combative lens perspective. So it's going to have a more direct correlation to what I'm talking about, right? So while I can't say I agree and wouldn't necessarily support these kind of channels, I just can't ignore the value of the data. So here we go. So I was just making a comment about the intensity of the situation and the high stakes. This cat, right off the bat, in white, is very calm. Like, you don't see a lot of tensing in his muscles, and that's a sign that he's done this a lot. He was labeled as a street fighter. Normally that kind of label is a direct indication of the opposite, but I would argue that is in fact the case with this cat. He's been in these kind of states a lot. It seems that he has been under these kind of stakes and circumstances a lot. Yeah, so that there, what you just saw, super effective combative takedown. That I believe pinch headlock is what it's called. Kind of you see it a lot in Greco and then just wrestling in general. We're gonna close the space and we get this grip here. We have his arm on the inside, his head on the inside, and the grip. I think the ideal placement is directly behind the nape of the neck, but the point is you're settling into that soft spot with your grip, and then it kind of straightens out the spine itself so that you can basically just kind of crumple your partner's structure and just bring him straight down. And it is super effective. Like, it's not just a strength move. Obviously being super strong would help. It also really speaks to the fundamentals of a body lock, which I'm not going to get into. I don't want to do a super long video here, but how your grip goes high, bites, and then your elbows return and come home and draw everything back into your core. That like fundamental movement just breaks structure down so well. Breaks like spinal and human structure down so well. So anyway, here you'll see him just crumple this guy with it. And he took him one way first and then back the other. But again, look, this cat's really got his head in the game. He reversed it very easily. Not super adept at keeping his opponent down. Whoa. I wonder why he just toppled like that. You see him in concrete here too. Like, that fall just there, man, that sucked. He's hurting right now. You got had this guy grabbing the shirt. I think that's allowed within this rule set. So again, really good data set here control. Switch to the back, very good, holding close. Okay, now that's dangerous. Oh! I don't know if you saw how close that was to getting a skull close. Looks like he's working out on the good side of it. When we are in this kind of environment, and just combatives in general, I like this back control. We're running a wrist ride, highly recommend wrist rides, and then we're running a post. I'm good with that when we've got the hooks in. The point is I have something, a post, to protect my dome from the concrete, because I have committed the rest of myself to wrapping around my opponent as he builds base. The moment my opponent builds base and I don't have a post to protect where I'm going, I'm in trouble. So this seatbelt ride, backpack ride, you got to get rid of it when it comes to combatives. You got to train that out of your grappling, and you got to get rid of it, because look at how close this was to not being worth taking this guy's back. Watch this. He's going for the choke, committed to. Oh my gosh, so close to getting his head. If his head had hit the concrete there, this choke's not there anymore. He's out. That's concrete. Concrete has no forgiveness. It does not care who you are. It does not care who your dad is. So yeah, like, you don't need to lock in the double from that perspective. And I'm just against locking in the hooks on the back anyway when you're in this kind of environment. There's application for putting hooks in on someone's back in this environment. It helps greatly for flattening them out. And if you can flatten a person out, belly down, you're in, it's the most dominant position, and especially in this kind of environment. But if you got these hooks in, you cannot commit both hands to control. You've got to have at least one hand out. It's not worth it. It's not worth the risk. When combatives, remember, we have to take the stand of coming out alive. We're not trying to win. We're trying to survive, right? So that's not worth the risk. We just focus on breaking him back down, and then we can slap in chokes and such like that when he's not building a big base underneath him and controlling our weight. It's because he rolled. The cat that had his back taken, his thought is, I can roll and maybe get his head to hit. But when you roll, you also have to get your head out of the way, right? If he just collapses back down, if the cat just, not even meaning to, just collapses back down, and we have our hands committed, here, I'll get you a better picture of this. Right here. Again, the guy in black, the guy with the, underneath, he rolled. So because he rolled, he has to move his head out of the way too to get his shoulder to the ground. And that makes a little gap. It can still be possible that if he rolls his head close enough to the ground, this head will still crack off the ground. But if he just collapsed, like not even meaning to, if he just collapsed forward and he's got his hands to protect his own head, you don't. Your dome's going to hit the concrete and you're going to be in a bad way. All right? And even if you don't go out and you still choke the guy out, you're going to have long-lasting injuries to your spine, right? It's just not worth the risk, man. we can break him. We're in a dominant position. We don't need to throw our hooks in and dedicate ourselves on top of him. We're in a dominant position behind him. We can break him down again from there, get him onto the ground, and then choke, right? So, man, so close. All right. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video. Slenderman out.